If you saw my video where I broke the tub spout off behind the tile wall in the shower, you'll understand why I'm installing this today. Super hard water right here. This is the main for the back unit, and the owner, I recommended installing one of these, and the owner's like, yeah, let's do it, because the guy's plumbing fixtures inside are just completely crusted. That's the best way to describe it. Just crusted with hard water. His toilet has rings in it, and the toilet's not even 6 months old, so I'm gonna put it somewhere right here. First, sure. Almost perfectly level. As good as it's gonna get, that's for sure. Okay, that's on there. And then let's put those on. So you have an in, and then you have an out. Filter, water softener. And then these go like that with these washers. So I gotta devise a plan. I think if I put my foot on this, I can kind of hold it up while I screw a couple in. Let's try it. Too hard. These aren't tight yet, and you got to make sure. See the space? What I'm gonna have to do is use my knee to lift this up while I tighten these. But if you can't do that yourself with your knee, what you'd have to do is take both of these off with that tool. And then that would leave you just with having to hold this up, which is obviously very light. It's going to be an interesting install. I have to, haven't decided how I'm going to pipe it yet, but all right, let's tighten these. Let's get these nice and tight. We got 4 more. They're just Allen screws, screw heads, whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna lifting that up with my knee. Get these as tight as they'll go. Okay. No. Still needs to be lifted up more. Quite a bit more, actually. See the gap? Okay, now that's what you want. It's almost flush, but as I tighten these down, it'll pull this up. Added 2 more here just to hold this on. This is nice and sturdy now. When you're doing these, you're not killing these, all right? You're just snugging them up, making sure there's no space in between. And that's it. You don't have to kill those. If you went too hard, you might crack the plastic. Although, this is some seriously tough plastic, I'll tell you that much. Okay, so now, you got the in, you got the out. I couldn't put it anywhere. I didn't want to get it too close to this because this door needs to be able to open. So what I'm probably gonna do is choppity chop chop right there. Choppity chop chop. And then probably 90 up. And then over and 90 in. And then we'll bring this down 90 and then 90 back in. I think that's what we'll do. All right, next step, which is very important. So you got that. And then you got this. So the water softener goes in between these. When you install these, you don't have to do this, but it's smart, is you want to make sure you have a bypass. So basically the water is going to come up from the main into here, into the filter. Filter's right here, and go back down and into the house. And then I'll have a shut off up here so that if something goes wrong with the filter, you just shut these off as you see, and then you open the one up top so you still have water to the house. And I always solder these because you know, you can take them apart if you need to, whereas pressing is a little bit more permanent. But this right here is all soldered. That's all soldered. The 90s haven't been soldered yet. But I'll put one more ball valve. I've already measured everything. Something to keep in mind when you're doing this, I prefabbed this right here before installing it. But you always want to keep in mind how close you have to this wall. Otherwise, you won't be able to spin the sucker. So I'm literally on the the edge of not being able to spin it. So got pretty close there. But just be cautious of that when you're doing this, because it'll piss you off. At least it'd piss me off. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. All you'd have to do is you just have to cut this a little bit and be fine. But you know, it gets annoying if this is the last job you're doing of the day. So anyway, we're gonna tighten these up on both sides. Got a little Teflon on the male threads. And then we will, you got to be really careful. This will melt. So I'm actually going to put a wet rag right here as I solder the rest of this, because I don't want those to melt. So, all right, let me tighten this up and I'll show you what it looks like. So the bypass looks a little something like that. Bypass it here. Bypass it here. Then you keep that closed when the filters are in. While the filters are in use. Now, I haven't soldered that in. I just measured from here to the center of this. I'm gonna have to cut it a little bit. Basically, I just cut the two pipes, or the one pipe in two spots, and then put on a regular coupling, and then I held this up like that. Got the measurement. It's about 3 inches. That's a 3-inch piece right here. And boom. I'll have to take just a touch of this off right here. And then it should line up perfectly. And then we're gonna have a 90 on that side, going like so. And we'll bring that around and under. All right, let's solder this up. All right, water's back on just to this little section right here, so you get a clear understanding. So the water to the main is on, and it goes up. I have it closed off to the filters, but it's still filling this. So if I open this, making a mess back here, but so that's how that works. No leakies. I gotta be honest, that's pretty bad, but it ain't leaking. I wipe the joints too. When you get those little drips like that, it's typically because your flux is starting to run down the pipe. I really don't know how to avoid that aside from wiping the joints, and then when it starts to drip down, then you wipe it again, but whatever. Okay, so now we just gotta pipe in this. That's gonna be fun to do. Okay, so I took the tape measure and I measured from here to about right here, and I just eyeballed this down to about right there. So I cut a 23 inch piece. I might have to take a little bit off of it, but just to get a frame of reference of how far over I want this. This one was a little harder to do. There's a lot of eyeballing, but I put this piece on here, and then I put this piece on here. I just lined them up, and I just kind of knew that I would need a street 90 and a regular 90 to get that to go in. So, all right, now we'll solder this up, and that'll be it. That's it. So now, just slowly, whoa, that wasn't slow. Slowly fill the chamber. Whoopsie daisy. So it's leaking from the, here, let's get all this out of it. So here we go. So this comes with it. It's just a, all right, hold on. Now it should stop. There you go. All right, guy. All you gotta do is, okay, now. Needed to be tightened. So let's clean that off. All right. That's going to remain closed right there. And then no leaks. Turned out decent. And this, if you ever needed to get that off, you can. This moves right here. It's not a problem. Sanded the solder joints a little bit, cleaned it up. Looks good, man. Turned out nice. Turned out nice. It's amazing to me how much longer soldering takes. It's just crazy. And then, now that I'm so used to pro pressing all the time and seeing the copper fittings are nice and shiny and after you press them, now I spend another 10 minutes after I'm done sanding everything just so it looks clean and fresh. Okay, now we got to go inside and clean off the toilet bowls with some pumice. Much better.